Welcome to Joffy Noodle Legs and the Horror House.
Hello guys, welcome to the channel and welcome to tonight's film review. Tonight we're looking at a video nasty 1968 Mexican film, Night of the Bloody Apes. But before we get into the film, let's have a look at any special features it may have. So this is Night of the Bloody Apes main screen. So we'll have a little look at the extras. Original theatrical trailer, Night of the Bloody Apes video essay, Doctor Doom video essay and photo gallery. And you've also got the movie Doctor of Doom. So that's the special features on Night of the Bloody Apes. So it has a feature film as a special feature, plus a couple of video essays, which is really cool. And it's great to see these sort of things on this release, which I did have years ago on DVD, but it was cut to hell. But this is apparently uncut. But we'll get to that a bit later in the description. So let's get to the story. So this film is based on a young lad called Julio and his father, Dr. Crawford. Now, his dad's a surgeon. Julio is ill. He has got leukemia. And we see the beginning of the film, and the father's really sort of stressed out all the time and very depressed, but he's still carrying on doing his sort of work. And it's we also meet a young female wrestler and her boyfriend, who's the lieutenant, who's the of the police force, and she's fighting in the Mexican ring, so it's already got my attention. It's so cool. It's great that some of these Mexican horror films, like the Santo series, and that have wrestling in it. Anyway, she's in the middle of a fight and she knocks her opponent out of the ring, and she's knocked unconscious, and she's panicking about it. So everyone rushes over, including the lieutenant, to the other wrestler on the floor, and they rush her to hospital, where it turns out she's had a brain injury and she's in like a sort of coma. So the doctors are trying their best to sort of like help her out. And Dr. Crawford says, well, there's not a lot we can do for her at the moment because of the brain injury. They're going to try their best. Anyway, he goes back home, and we see him visiting his son. And I'm sorry, horror hands, but he's your double. He is your double. Not when he's transformed, obviously, but before he transforms, he is your double, mate. But take that as a compliment. Anyway, so Julian or Joanne is his name, and he is speaking to his father about, is he going to help him find a sort of cure, and his father is trying. And then we join one night his father, Dr. Crawford, and his assistant breaking into the zoo, and they sort of tranquilize an orangutan by the looks of it. It's a man dressed in a suit. Anyway, they tranquilize him and drag him back to Dr. Crawford's house. And Julian's still there, sort of like semi-conscious and sort of like dying of this illness. And the doctor makes a decision to transplant the heart of this ape into his son to try and cure him of this leukemia. So they go through the operation quite graphically, and it seems to be cut because there's a lot of editing around, and there's sort of like, it looks cut, but what it is actually it's not actually cut. It's them replacing the scenes that have been cut out into it, and you can tell the difference because those scenes are a little blurry and a little bit of sort of like grain in them and stuff like that. And that happens throughout the film, when they reinstalling the cut bits into the film. Anyway, the surgery's done, and Julian wakes up, and he seems okay. And so the father goes about his business. He's well happy, and he goes out about onto his job and asks for his assistant to keep an eye on him and giving him an injection every 8 hours. But while Dr. Crawford's watching over him, he transforms, and his whole face turns into this sort of I don't know how to describe it, but it turns into this sort of monster, and he breaks free of the ropes and knocks his father to the floor and his assistant and escapes through the window, and he's out loose on the streets. And then he goes on an absolute rampage, a killing spree. He goes on killing these women. The doctor goes back out. We see him kill this guy by ripping his throat out. We see him attacking and trying to rape this woman, and he kills her too. And one woman escapes. And then he gets caught. He gets tranquilized by Dr. Crawford and taken back to the laboratory and tied up again. But again, he escapes and goes out killing more victims. There's quite a heavy body count in this film. And the sort of story progresses like this. And eventually, what the doctor decides to do is the wrestler woman that's injured in the hospital, he decides to take him to his laboratory and take her heart out and put it into him, a human heart, which he does. But the only thing that does with Julian is gives him the ability to transform between monster and human. So it's not really that successful. But that's all I'm going to tell you, because you need to sort of watch it and find out what it's about. But let's have a little talk about the characters. So the characters are pretty cool. Dr. Crawford plays the part really well and quite convincingly as this worried father trying his best for his son. And obviously, the monster is fantastic. I can't say about the acting of the son because it's not brilliant. He's most of the time just laying in the bed, but when he plays the monster, he's fantastic out on the street on the rampage. He looks like a wrestler, to be honest, but he's out and about on the rampage. The female wrestler and the lieutenant is the sort of love story going on, although it doesn't delve deep into that. We get so drawn into the story of the doctor and his son that the other characters just seem to be there, apart from his assistant, who's really, really cool. He's got like a huge scar down his face, and he's quite cool. But yeah, the characters are quite good and quite believable in places. Some of the acting from the police officers are very, very questionable, though. They're like, you can tell that they're just not really actors. They're just there for the fodder, and just have some of them have the odd line. Oh yeah, he went that way and turned left, you know, like that. They just get the odd line and stuff like that. The love story doesn't go too far because the detective's always out trying to investigate what's going on, and so she gets the right ump, and sort of like doesn't really follow the story of that very much, because I thought, oh, is she going to be a victim, or is she, because she's a wrestler, is she going to stand up and be like the hero against our monster? But that's not the case either. But there we go. But I'm quite glad it didn't take that direction, because that would have been obvious. But the characters are all right. So here's my final verdict. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. It's almost like an amazing sort of film. I'm going to score it an amazing watch and give it an 8 out of 10. Or 8.5 out of 10. It's nearly a 9. I absolutely loved it. It's so cool. It's almost like a Mexican telling of the Frankenstein story. Now, Dr. Crawford is like Dr. Frankenstein with his sidekick, and his son is this monster that he's created from other body parts. So there's a lot of obviously Frankenstein influence, but it was so cool. And it was just so sort of different. I kept thinking the Curse of the Werewolf, the Hammer film, a little bit, and other sort of films sort of crept into this that I thought, wow, this is so cool. But then we get to the deaths, which there are quite a few in here. So the pluses of this edition, it does look quite nice, apart from when we get to the deaths and stuff, which have all been put back into the film. They were all cut out because when I had the DVD of it, all those death scenes were cut out, but they've all been put back into it, and they are slightly blurred. But that's just probably because of the negative that they've taken them from to put them back in. But we are treated to throat rippings, eye gouging out. We have stabbings in the film, which is quite gruesome. We have him ripping the head off of one of his victims. We have him doing all these wonderful sort of attacks. We have quite a bit of nudity in the film. We do have some people that manage to get away. We have all these sort of crazy things going on. We have a father trying to cover it up as he knows it's his son and stuff like this, and his helper so loyal to the doctor that he would do anything behind him as well. Typical sort of Igel kind of character. We have all these wonderful things going on in the film. The negative about the film is I still think it's slightly cut. A lot of the deaths are very close up, and are a long time coming. We have face rippings off, which you could just about make out. It's not overly as explicit or gory as I thought is it going to be. But if it's 1968, I thought, well, there we go. You're not going to get an amazing gore film. It's filmed in Mexico City, I believe. I am going to watch the essay about it because I absolutely thought this film is a little bit of a classic. Because if you take away the video nasty stuff, it does play out like a Frankenstein's film. And it's really, really cool and engaging. This film does engage you due to the way that the pacing of the film is pretty good. Apart from the cuts, when you see the film sort of cut, it's sort of like one scene and then it's like that, like another scene sort of thing. It's like, wow, okay. But that could again be them just replacing films back into it. But it's really, really enjoyable and really cool. This death here that was on the cover, I didn't understand it. It's sort of like one of the doctors later in the film in the hospital, and he's doing all this to his face, and sort of teeth are coming out of his mouth. But there's a really cool death in there with a scalping and stuff like that, which is really cool. Yeah, so some of the deaths were a little anticlimactic because they were so close. I think just pull away. Just pull that camera away. Let's see the creature. Let's see the gore, the death. But there we go. It's 1968, and they probably, it must have been absolutely shocking for this time. But it's absolutely fucking wonderful. Night of the Bloody Apes, 8 out of 10. Any of you guys seen 8.5 out of 10? Any of you guys seen it? If you have, let me know down below. This is definitely one of my favourite video nasties, just simply because of the storyline, the characters, the setting is really, really cool. Yes, when he was a creature, it does move a bit too quick, and I would have liked that to be paced a bit slower, a bit slowed down, a build up like a death, like in a park where we see like a couple like walking and stuff, and in a build up to it, but it kind of like we'll see someone walk him and there he is, and there we go into the death. It's like that. Just that pacing would have made this a classic in my eyes, and would have probably scored 9 to a 10 out of 10 if it was paced simply just a little bit better when it comes to the kills. Otherwise, guys, it's fantastic. It's amazing. I will watch Doctor of Doom another day, but for tonight, Night of the Bloody Apes is a well-earned video nasty. It's so cool. Guys, check out some other horror channels for me. Check out Horror Hands, Horror Geek, Man v Film, RS Design, Pizzawell. I'm Ice Lord, Cat Watchers Horror Movies, Grumpy Andrews Horror House, and The Maniac. And a massive shout out to my lad. Till next time, look after yourselves, look after one another, and I really hope I'll see you all soon.